Friends, we know that while the rest of the Duggar family is slowly drifting apart from each other, a very strange, but beautiful friendship is quietly growing behind the scenes. Yes, I'm talking about Amy Duggar and Jill Duggar. Recently, Amy opened up about some personal and private conversations between the two of them. And after hearing all this, people now have one big question in their minds. When the rest of the family seems to be falling apart like a house of cards, are Jill and Amy becoming each other's biggest support system? And honestly, are they secretly planning something that could become a huge blow for the rest of the Duggars? In today's video, I've brought you some explosive insider updates that will help you understand just how deep this situation between these family members really goes. Today, I'll tell you the hidden story of how Amy stood beside Jill at a time when many people feel Jill was left emotionally alone by the rest of the family. So watch this video till the very end, because in the middle of the video, I'll also talk about a leaked chat discussion and some information that many viewers say they've never heard before. And friends, before we start, tell me something. What do you personally think about the bond between these two women? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoy these updates, don't forget to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. Alright then, let's get into the real story together. Over the years, fans of the Duggar family have watched the family relationships slowly change. Some changes happened publicly, others happened very quietly, behind closed doors. But recently, one thing people are noticing more and more is that Amy Duggar King and Jill Duggar Dillard seem to be standing on the same side much more often now. And now, Amy openly talking about her text conversations with Jill has brought even more attention to this growing connection between them. What makes all of this especially interesting is that Amy has always been seen as a little different from the rest of the family. Even back during the reality TV days, people viewed her as the outsider cousin. She didn't grow up under the same strict rules. And honestly, she always seemed much more open and outspoken compared to many of the Duggar siblings. Now Jill was completely different. For years, Jill was viewed as one of the most loyal daughters in the family. She followed the rules. She appeared regularly on television. And for a very long time, viewers believed she would probably never publicly distance herself from the family structure. But over the last few years, that image has changed completely. Jill's honest discussions about boundaries, therapy, finances, and emotional struggles gave viewers a totally different perspective on her life. Then came her autobiography, along with several public interviews, where she carefully, but honestly, talked about the complicated relationships inside the family. And honestly, this became a very important turning point, because Jill's transformation completely changed how many people viewed the Duggar family. Before this, most criticism came from outsiders. But once someone from inside the family started validating some of those concerns, people began paying much closer attention. And throughout all of that, Amy consistently supported Jill. That's exactly why these new comments about their private text messages are getting so much attention now. According to Amy's recent public comments, she and Jill have stayed in touch privately, especially during stressful family situations. Amy described their relationship almost like a safe space, where both of them can check on each other emotionally, away from the pressure of the larger family environment. Now, to be clear, Amy hasn't released private screenshots or shared deeply personal details publicly. A lot of online discussion has exaggerated that part. But she did confirm that they stay in regular contact and emotionally rely on each other for support. And honestly, that one detail alone says a lot. Because when families go through public conflicts, support systems usually become very small. People naturally move closer to those who truly understand them. And in this case, Amy and Jill seem to share many of the same frustrations about how certain situations have been handled publicly over the years. Another thing people are noticing is how openly Amy acknowledges Jill in public now. Whenever Jill posts about independence, healing, parenting, or personal growth, Amy often responds positively or shows support very publicly. Sometimes it's subtle, sometimes it's direct, but viewers notice it almost immediately. And honestly, that public support matters, because the Duggar family has always been extremely careful about its public image. For years, the family tried to present unity, even during major scandals and controversies. So when certain family members publicly support each other outside the traditional family structure, naturally, people pay attention. And this is important for one big reason. Public support can send a message, without directly attacking anyone. Amy doesn't always have to criticize the family openly. Simply standing beside Jill already tells viewers where her emotional loyalty stands. At the same time, all of this is happening while the family is still dealing with public criticism connected to past legal issues and media backlash. And because of that, many viewers online are discussing this situation very heavily right now. Some people believe Amy is speaking out now because the family's image is already under pressure. Others believe she's simply no longer willing to stay silent anymore. And honestly, both sides make arguments that people can understand. I think this is where the conversation becomes much more complicated. On one side, Amy has built part of her public image around being outspoken, saying things that other family members won't say publicly. That attention keeps her involved in the ongoing Duggar conversation online. But at the same time, she also genuinely seems to care deeply about Jill. And honestly, both things can exist together. Someone can truly care about another person, while also understanding that public interest in the story brings attention to them as well. Real life is complicated like that. And relationships inside famous families are rarely simple. Viewers can feel that complexity too. Some fans praise Amy for supporting Jill, especially during periods when Jill appeared emotionally distant from parts of the family. They believe Amy helped Jill maintain confidence and independence during very difficult years. But other viewers are much more skeptical. Some people question why private conversations need to be discussed publicly at all. They argue that if healing is the goal, then maybe these conversations should stay private. And honestly, that debate has now become a huge part of public opinion online. Social media comments are deeply divided. One side views Amy and Jill as two people building healthier boundaries together after difficult experiences. The other side worries that constant public discussion may be keeping old family wounds open, instead of helping them heal. And honestly, I can understand why people feel conflicted. Because when millions of strangers are watching your family problems, everything becomes much heavier emotionally. Jill especially seems caught between two different worlds now. She no longer fully fits the strict image viewers once saw during the early reality TV years. But at the same time, she also hasn't completely separated herself from her family identity either. And living in that in-between space can feel emotionally exhausting. This matters because viewers often expect dramatic endings. People expect someone to either completely walk away or fully reconcile. But real family relationships usually stay messy and complicated for years. And honestly, that complexity is probably one of the biggest reasons people continue following this story so closely. Another interesting part of this entire situation is how carefully Jill herself speaks publicly. Compared to Amy, Jill usually sounds much more reserved and controlled, even when discussing painful experiences. She rarely sounds explosive or aggressive. Amy is very different. She's more emotional, more direct, and much quicker to openly react. So when Amy talks publicly about their friendship, viewers almost begin analyzing Jill through Amy's words too. People stop focusing only on what Jill says, and start paying attention to what Amy says about Jill. And recently, that dynamic has become very noticeable online. I also think Amy understands that many viewers now see Jill as one of the most relatable members of the Duggar family. Jill's discussions about therapy, parenting pressure, emotional healing, and setting boundaries made her feel much more human to many viewers. And by supporting Jill publicly, Amy strengthens her own connection with that audience too. Because in reality television culture, public opinion matters a lot. Families built around TV fame rely heavily on image management. And once that image begins cracking, every little public interaction gets analyzed. Even something as simple as a supportive text message suddenly turns into headline news. And honestly, that's exactly what we're seeing now. Another reason this story feels so interesting to many viewers is because it reflects a much larger issue people have watched develop for years: the slow breakdown of the Duggar family image. At the peak of the show's popularity, the family brand was built around unity, closeness, and shared values. But over time, viewers started noticing differences between siblings, spouses, and extended relatives. Some stayed quiet, some moved away emotionally, and some became much more vocal publicly. Now fans carefully watch every interaction, looking for signs of loyalty, distance, or emotional connection. And honestly, that's why this matters so much now. People no longer follow the family only as one large group. Now viewers follow individual relationships inside the family, almost like separate stories. And right now, Amy and Jill's relationship has become one of the most talked about dynamics. I think what makes this story emotionally powerful is that both women understand what it feels like to exist slightly outside the approved family framework. Amy always seemed like the cousin who never fully fit in, and Jill slowly became the daughter who finally started questioning parts of that system. That shared experience may honestly explain why they seem so connected now. Of course, none of us truly know what their private relationship looks like behind closed doors. Public statements only show part of the picture. And it's important not to treat online speculation like absolute truth. But based on everything both women have said publicly over time, there does seem to be genuine trust between them. And honestly, in a family surrounded by years of public controversy, trust may be one of the rarest things left. At the end of the day, this story probably isn't really about leaked messages at all. It's more about emotional connection. Who supports who feels emotionally safe with who, and who feels understood after years of public pressure and family conflict. That's the deeper reason why so many viewers continue paying attention to this story. Because behind all the headlines, criticism, and social media debates, people are really watching a family trying to redefine itself publicly, one relationship at a time. And right now, Amy and Jill's growing bond may be one of the clearest signs yet that the Duggar family story is still changing quietly behind the scenes.